We're going to talk about how to cure a hangover, a mild hangover fast. And before we get into actually how to cure a hangover, I think we need to talk about what makes somebody get a hangover to begin with. I think this is an important thing to note because if you understand actually why you get a hangover, you can kind of address the different things that you can do to ultimately decrease the chances of yourself getting a hangover. So what makes someone get a hangover? What's actually happening? There's a few different things. One thing is mild dehydration. There's quite a bit of fluid loss when you are consuming alcohol. So if there's more fluid loss, of course, especially if you are not hydrating, this is why people will tell you to hydrate if you're drinking alcohol. Have 1 part water to 1 part alcohol because you lose a lot of fluid. So dehydration, that's a huge factor in having a hangover, and ultimately why people get a hangover. They're just dehydrated. They're losing a lot of fluid. In addition to this, as we've discussed earlier, alcohol affects your sleep tremendously. And if you sleep poorly, I could ask you this today. Even if you sleep poorly without drinking alcohol, how do you feel? You still probably feel bad. Guess what? If you drink alcohol, it's going to affect your sleep quality. So if you sleep poorly and drink alcohol, you're going to feel really, really bad. That's another kind of layer that can add on to the hangover of why a hangover is bad and can be bad. Obviously, you're going to have a huge loss of energy from this and your mood. In addition to this, another reason why we have hangovers and what happens is from gastrointestinal irritation. This is irritation to the stomach and the GI system. So that's your gastrointestinal system. That's basically your digestive system. So from your esophagus all the way down to your colon when you excrete feces. There's irritation from this, from all of that alcohol that's ingested in your body. And you're probably thinking, why is there irritation? Well, this is actually because when your body processes alcohol, it's broken down into acetaldehyde. And acetaldehyde is actually a toxic byproduct of alcohol. It's literally a poison that is in your body after you metabolize alcohol. So this, not only being in your body, can increase inflammation, increase feelings of being tired, decrease mood. It can also lead to inflammation of the organs and stuff not feeling as good as, oh, that tummy ache. You know, it very well could be from that acetaldehyde leading into your body and just being consistent with there. In addition to this, one of the last things that kind of comes with hangovers and why we have them, there's kind of a mini withdrawal. So if you think about the euphoric feeling you might get when drinking alcohol, that feeling will not last. And in fact, that feeling will have to go back down to baseline, below baseline usually, if you are somebody who's a little inebriated, you're drunk. You're going to have to go skip past feeling normal, quote unquote, and go a little bit worse because your body's, it's withdrawal. This is like any alcohol or drug withdrawal, I should say. Your body needs to go back to baseline. So when it comes to actually curing your hangover, we have some bad news. For first up, there's no miracle cure for this. Your body simply needs time to repair all the damage from the drinking the night before, just like a common cold. So if you have a common cold and you're not feeling good, a lot of people will stay home, they'll take some medication, do things, they'll rest, they'll usually get extra sleep. This is basically the exact same thing that needs to happen with your body. You need to rest, you need to sleep, because as we just discussed, there's literal toxins and poison going through your body when you drink it and it's broken down that needs to be digested and completely gotten rid of from your body. So you just need to recover. And probably one of the biggest things that you can do to actually cure or prevent hangovers from happening is what you do beforehand. So drinking moderately is a great way to obviously prevent hangovers. Keeping yourself well hydrated so you don't have that dehydration long term. Getting the best sleep all the way up to that point and the multiple subsequent days ahead, getting as high quality sleep as you can for the most part is going to be very crucial. And when you are drinking that night, trying to get maybe a little bit of extra time in bed is crucial too. Because if you think about it, maybe you sleep 8 hours normally. And in that sleep, you have, say you're in bed for 8 hours and you sleep only 7 hours of that because we're tossing and turning, we're not feeling as good, we have to get up and go use the restroom. If you drink alcohol, that 8 hours in bed might be not brought down to 7 like normal. It might be brought down to 6 because your deep sleep quality is not nearly as good as we just discussed. So if you're able to buffer and give yourself a little bit of increased sleep time in bed, so maybe you have 9 hours in bed instead, that's going to help you kind of offset some of that potential issues with feeling hungover and just something you can do. With that said, though, that's not a miracle cure either. Your sleep's going to be affected nonetheless. And then also eating well, both during and while you're drinking. A lot of times, as I mentioned, when people drink, they eat very high calorie, high fat, fried foods, stuff that's very low in nutrients and just tastes really good. This is not going to make your digestive system feel good, which will not make your body feel good. It can just add on to all the different layers of why you feel hungover and will just make it so much worse. So long story short, kind of some unfortunate news, you cannot cure a hangover. There are some things you can do to prevent it, but pretty much the best advice I can tell you is to drink moderately and maybe not drink at all. If you don't want to have a hangover, don't drink at all. If you are hungover, just realize this is part of the process. Your body's returning to baseline. It needs to recover from all the poison and damage you put into it. So that's just got to run its course.